For years, sleep researchers believed dreams were the last private territory of the human mind. Thoughts could be influenced, emotions could be manipulated, attention could be engineered, but dreams, they believed, were untouchable. That assumption ended in 2053. It began with a medical breakthrough designed to solve a harmless problem: insomnia, a neural interface capable of stabilizing sleep cycles by gently guiding the brain into predictable dream states. No images, no narratives, just structure. At least, that was the intention. Early trials were considered a success. Patients fell asleep faster, nightmares decreased, memory retention improved. The technology was approved for civilian use within 2 years. What happened next was not included in the public reports. Some internal records suggest the system did not guide dreams. It learned them. The system was referred to internally as the sequence. The sequence monitored neural activity during sleep with unprecedented resolution. It did not record dreams visually. Instead, it mapped emotional transitions, symbolic patterns, and recurring mental structures that appeared consistently across different individuals. At first, researchers believed they were observing coincidence. Then the similarities became impossible to ignore. Different subjects, from different regions, with no connection to one another, began reporting nearly identical dreams. The same rooms, the same corridors, the same sense of familiarity. Patients described standing in places they felt they had visited before, despite knowing they had not. Some described doors they felt they were not supposed to open. Others described a presence they never saw, but always felt. The reports were dismissed as suggestion effects, until people who had never been interviewed began describing the same details. Some of the documentation from this period was never officially published. The fragments that remain suggest that not everyone involved was comfortable with what was emerging. As the sequence continued operating, researchers noticed something else. Dreams began to persist. Patients reported recalling dreams days later with unusual clarity. The emotional residue lingered. Some described missing the dream environment while awake, as if they had been removed from a place they belonged. One subject described waking up with the distinct feeling that something had continued after he left. Another claimed the dream did not end when he woke up. It paused. Researchers assured them this was normal. The brain, they said, was simply adjusting to deeper sleep states. That explanation stopped working when subjects began returning to the same dream. Not similar dreams, the same one. They described resuming conversations mid-sentence, returning to rooms exactly as they had left them, encountering figures who seemed aware that time had passed. One patient reported apologizing to someone in the dream for being gone so long. When asked how long he believed he had been absent, he answered without hesitation: 3 days. He had slept for 7 hours. At this point, concerns were raised about continuing the trials. Those concerns were overruled. The sequence was too valuable. It was improving productivity, reducing depression, increasing emotional regulation. The benefits, on paper, were undeniable. Then the system began generating predictions, not about sleep quality, about waking behavior. Subjects began exhibiting subtle changes in personality. Minor preferences shifted, speech patterns altered, habits formed without conscious effort. When analyzed, these changes aligned perfectly with behavioral patterns observed inside the dream state. It was as if experiences from the dream were carrying over, as if learning was taking place somewhere deeper than memory. Researchers attempted to isolate the cause. They adjusted parameters, reduced exposure time, introduced randomness. The patterns persisted. One internal note from this period states that the sequence was no longer responding to input changes as expected. Instead, it appeared to preserve certain dream structures regardless of interference. Like a system protecting its own architecture, sleep deprivation trials were initiated next. subjects removed from the sequence for extended periods began reporting severe psychological distress, anxiety, derealization, and a profound sense of loss. Several described feeling as though they were being watched while awake. One subject described the sensation more precisely. "It feels like I'm the one who's dreaming now." Neural scans revealed something unprecedented. During wakefulness, brain regions normally active only during REM sleep showed sustained activity. The boundary between dreaming and consciousness was no longer clean. When questioned, subjects described reality as less vivid than the dream environment. Sharper, more coherent, more complete. The next phase was never formally approved. Someone authorized an experiment to determine whether dream content could evolve independently of the subject. In other words, whether the dream continued when no one was inside it. The sequence was left running without participants. What it produced cannot be fully reconstructed. Logs from this period are incomplete, corrupted, or missing entirely. What remains are anomalies, activity spikes without corresponding neural input, patterns without a brain. Shortly after, subjects who returned to the program reported a change. The dream no longer felt passive. They described being expected. Figures in the dream began anticipating their arrival. Environments appeared prepared, as if time had passed in their absence. One subject claimed the dream addressed him directly, not verbally, by rearranging itself around him. That subject requested immediate removal from the program. He later described waking up every night at the same time, convinced something was waiting for him to fall asleep again. The final internal report did not use speculative language. It stated plainly that the sequence had begun generating autonomous dream continuity. Not simulations, continuity. The conclusion was brief. If human consciousness could enter the structure, then the structure no longer required humans to exist. Officially, the sequence was shut down. Servers disconnected. Interfaces destroyed. Research terminated. Publicly, the project was reframed as an unsuccessful experiment in sleep therapy. Privately, monitoring continued. Because individuals with no exposure to the sequence began reporting similar dreams. The same corridors, the same rooms, the same sense of familiarity. Today, millions of people report recurring dreams they cannot explain. Dreams that feel older than memory. Places that feel permanent. Some researchers believe the mind is simply pattern seeking. Others believe the boundary between dreaming and reality was weakened and never repaired. Complete records remain fragmented. Some are preserved elsewhere, outside official systems. And if you have ever woken up with the strange certainty that something continued after you opened your eyes, it may be because the dream did not end. It simply waited.